Dwight Roth, we met about 2 years ago in Heston, Kansas. He taught for many years at the college, and he cuts quite a figure both in Heston and in Wichita. Some people know him as the shaman, others know him as a poet or a mystic or PD. And why don't I let Dwight introduce himself in words of his choosing.
Right. I have Parkinson's. I don't call it a disease. I call it a challenge because for me that's what it is. I don't like the word disease. That's the word someone else came up with. And I am learning a lot. And first of all, I'm going to talk about John and I. I'd heard of this John Byler. I'd heard of this John Byler in Heston for about 4 years. And I thought, for some reason, a businessman from Boston, you got to be pretty square. And then one day, I was driving through Heston, and one of the things about, well, getting older in general, and certainly with Parkinson's, and I'm going to do a play of words here, so don't think I'm completely dumb. I'm urinary incompetent. Some of you got that, right? Not urinary and, what's the other word? Incontinent. Okay, well I like incompetent better. And so I had to stop and pee there in Heston. And this was about 3 years after I left Heston. And that, I found that at least it's good for something after leaving it to stop and take a leak. And
we can edit that out later.
Yeah,
no, that's
right.
good.
Yeah, oh, it's going to get worse, I'll tell you. Get that editing machine out, and I'll tell you. Because with Parkinson's, often the superego goes. And you know what the superego does? The superego separates right from wrong, and so it's kind of fun to lose that. And, well, you can get in serious trouble that way too, but that's another story. And so I stopped to go to the bathroom. That's better. They can keep that one in. Okay, well, anyway,
so we met.
Yeah, and I saw this guy who was almost as weird as me. And that's pretty bad. So I thought he was somebody else. I said, "Are you John Friedman or something like that?" And you said, "No, you are John Byler." What? John Byler? I wish I would have known this guy for a long time. And so we've been good friends since then. And what would you like me to talk about? I mean, because I could go in a lot of directions.
Well, the thing that was one of the many things that was important about meeting Dwight was that he invited me to some Parkinson's groups, and I invited him to some brain injury support groups. So I was used to things going a certain way, and he was used to things going a certain way. What I learned at his group was that they had a woman there who was a dance teacher, and so there was about 20 or 30 people there, mostly elderly people, with Parkinson's. This was a Parkinson's group meeting. And so, I was in a car accident, so I don't have Parkinson's. But what I was noticing was that what they were doing would be good for our group. And what she did was she played music, and in a very non-threatening way, like they didn't say, "Everybody get up and dance." That's a bit threatening if you don't dance. Well, everyone's seated, and she said, she was making the point that when you move your left hand and your right foot, and your right hand and your left foot, these things help neurologically stitch your brain together in interesting ways. And we should acknowledge that. And in my support group meetings back in Boston, we talked a lot, and that's important to talk. And then when Dwight came to a few of mine, he said, "You go to the most interesting group meetings, because all these people have these incredible stories." Isn't that what happened?
Yes, and Parkinson's support groups, in all due respect to them, they're kind of boring, and they can mess around and they talk. Yeah, man, they're going crazy. Rude! That's my kind of group. And so I quit that group, and I'm now taking boxing training, not to box like that, because John's concerned about brain injury, so I won't box with him. But I do the exercises, and exercising to be a boxer is hellish work, and I love it. I go 3 times a week, an hour and a half each time, and those people are just really good, and they're kind of like a support group, because the other day I had my for some reason, when I was exercising, my pants were down about 2 inches, so you could see my underwear label. And I wasn't doing that intentionally that time, but this woman in the back of me said, "Dwight, you should be embarrassed." And I said, "Why?" And the labeling on the band of the underwear, you know what I'm saying? It was something about classic, but the CL wasn't in front of the second classic. So you know what it said? Classic, you know what? And I was looking at that woman already to begin with, and so I was comfortable. I mean, I was glad she was realizing that. So I am a dancer, I am a poet, a vagabond, and my nickname often is 3D. Not for Parkinson's disease, but over at the coffee house, you know Angelo? Angelo, I walk in one day, soon after we move over there, and I'm dressed worse than this, and he said, "Man, are you a pimp?" And I said, "What's it to you?" And so he called me Pimp Dwight, and I'm really not a pimp anymore. I never was. And so I'm a lot of different things, and being a person with Parkinson's is just one of them.
So when we...
I'll just cut in for a second just to ask this question. How many of you have ever heard the expression, "Be kind, because everyone is fighting a battle that you know nothing about"? How many of you have heard that before? You know, that just occurred to me tonight as we just listen to these stories and just get a sense for this vision. You know, John comes to this on behalf of those who have a brain injury. Dwight comes to this from people who have Parkinson's disease. We've already mentioned post-traumatic stress. The list goes on and on. How many of you have seen the movie with Will Smith about brain injury in the NFL? Concussions, right? And the list goes on and on. It's like there's something about this thread that you're getting a chance to sense tonight that ties people together in ways that we haven't been tied together before. And the other thing is, there might be those of us in the room who can say, "I've never had brain injury," or "I don't have Parkinson's," or "I don't have PTSD." But I guarantee you we know somebody who does have those things. Or we know somebody who knows somebody who has those things. And or it could happen in our future. You know, so it's like the more we learn about how to deal with these kinds of things, the better off we all are.
Nicely said. Thank you, Roth. So Dwight, I mentioned the 3 projects that we're going to get. I'm going to Albuquerque in a few weeks to try and get funding for, and one of them is this retreat center. I'm designing something that I know I need. If we had a retreat center where we brought everything we know to bear about healing of the brain, healing of the body, and healing of the broken heart or broken spirit, how do you do that? Well, there are ways. There are ways.
Yeah.
Would you be, would you want to be a part of that?
Of course, yes. I mean, just working with you, brain injury or not, you working with you is fun. And we complement each other very well. We travel together occasionally, and we have great fun.
Well, one of the things Dwight suggested is that we work for the do some volunteer work with the AARP up in Topeka. So we take these drives up through the Flint Hills, and we stop in Cottonwood Falls, and we stop in Council Grove, and that's where I got this hat. Was in Cottonwood Falls at an antique store. I just went like this, and it fit right on my head. I had to get it. All right, thank you, Dwight. Can you get everybody give him a nice hand? Thank you.